Hey there folks, I'm Zerfall.
And I'm Auld Dragon.
And we are taking one last trip into the realms of Quest 5. A new version just came out. With perfect timing, I guess, for the last video.
Yep.
With one important feature. And that is that ally hit points are displayed when they suffer damage during combat. I think that's a new feature.
Well, I think it...
It might have been a new feature for a while, actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah, I think that was a new feature. I thought it was described as the clone hit points will just be displayed or something. In combat.
No, I think it's the exact one we already looked at, and I just misremembered.
Oh, okay.
Well, anyways, we're playing on the newest version. There's been some spelling fixes and some other bug fixes, probably. And I wanted to go check out Veritas. I suspect it's not going to be as exciting as one might hope, but it's fun to try.
Alright.
So how do we get there?
We just follow the road pretty much all the way north. And shortly before we, Oh, wow. Alright. That is, quite a few. Do you still have it, on speed up?
Yeah, I sped it up for that, because it was just going to be... It was nothing too dangerous, but it was a bunch of poisons.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like Bobo might just kill these all with a...
Yeah, Meteor Swarm. Or Power Word. It's not going to work on the...
Oh, the zombies are already dead!
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But Grimmeth can try a Turn Undead or the higher level one, which I just realized that I did not get my manual up.
It's not raised dead. Could you imagine? You've gained 11 members to your party.
I think it's 2? Don't quote me on that. Banish
Undead.
Yeah. Probably more powerful than necessary, but who cares?
Well, the zombies care.
Do they, though?
Maybe?
Shaman. Earl King. Hey, nice. Alright, Elmandretta, cut a swath through the Ogre Magi.
No, man, Zerfall didn't even do anything.
Bean got it. Zerfall gets a level, though.
Finally! We're not that far from town. It's time to go back to town.
That's fine with me.
So it turns out that right before...
Actually,
oh, people are poisoned.
Well, I don't think it matters that much. Check Bobo's... do a view on Bobo. And then view the ally.
No.
Or inspect. Okay. Yeah, it was not showing the ally hit points.
No, I think we got that feature a long time ago, and I just forgot about it.
Right. No, I was just thinking that maybe it was actually showing their hit points, as opposed to not just showing it when they get hit.
Ah. It's a little more complicated, I guess, when it's, Oh, what the heck?
Well, Elmandretta needs some help.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's not showing. Okay. So first of all, we need to remove that spell on Elmandretta, which is Stone to Flesh, 5th level wizard.
Should you just be doing Meteor Swarm?
No.
Or will Power Word Kill work on these guys?
Power Word Kill should work on them.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is working pretty well.
And just start slashing.
Oh, what a
them up.
waste. I mean, while we're in combat, we might as well cast. Where is it? Remove poison.
Let's see. Is that fine?
Cure all poison.
Yeah. Chop, chop. Yeah.
Is there a treasure?
Yeah. JG and Bean are going up levels.
Dang, we were so
there's
close to
treasure.
leveling up a bunch of people.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Again, I'd really like to be able to see XP in this game.
No, I'm not casting anything.
67, 35,
And it's sword +2.
Sword +2. Right.
Alright, we'll sleep one more time and then we'll cast invisibility this time.
Yep.
Might as well.
Yeah,
It's an
sure.
alternative reality anyways where Grimmeth gets to not be voided. And just in case, what's in the market?
Gem of Nimrod.
Banish Undead?
Banish Undead. One time.
A hunter only can use that.
That is not very good. Alright, let's get our invisibility up. Alright, so just follow the road north.
Follow the red brick road?
Mm-hmm. We're off to see the non-wizard of Veritas.
Hey, a boat.
It's a nice boat. Alright, so we'll lose our invisibility. Bypass this town.
Oh no, I stepped on some grass.
Oh no.
We're not standing
There'll be a
citizens.
little village to the north. That's about where we'll want to head north. Maybe around that mountain. There we go. I think that is it.
Let's go in. Is there any change in dialogue?
That
That's-
is the question.
That's the question. I have a feeling they're just going to encourage us not to... Because I reread the dialogue that they gave us, and it wasn't a, hey, give us the stuff instead. It was a...
Don't give it to
I don't give it to...
the queen. You see a clown who is a shuckin' and a jivin'.
Oh, well, I
thank
tried.
you. Listen carefully. I and the people of Veritas speak the truth.
Bye.
Farewell.
I just had to get him in one more time.
Of course. I am King Titus, the one who rules the lands of the Northern Men. Queen Elania and I helped Lady Bane to win the Civil War. Then she betrayed and turned against us. For a modest tribute of 50 gold coins, I can bestow thee my share of the Tablet of Uthar. No, thank you. Thou hast paid me already. I cannot join thee.
Bye. Okay, so it doesn't look like there's anything.
Let's talk to the queen just to see.
'Cause
A majestic elven queen of undescribable beauty is sitting on the throne beside her king. Once you unite the Tablet of Uthar, do not give it to Lady Bane. Instead, use its power against her.
Have a coin.
No, thank you.
Bye.
Farewell.
Well, so this is going to be my my one criticism of the game is that, and I understand that it might actually not have worked within the engine very easily.
Yeah.
It would have been nice if those people changed their dialogue, even if it was just something as simple as, now that you have the Tablet of Uthar, use it against Lady Bane. But,
So, to a certain extent, I mean, like, to us, it was obvious that we would go to the signpost and that's where it would happen.
Yeah.
Did we just miss a dialogue that indicated this is where, go to the signpost to give Lady Bane the tablet?
Anytime you go to the signpost prior to having all of the tablet, she's like, hey, go get the tablet pieces and meet me back here once you do.
Ah, okay. All right.
So it's...
Because we hadn't been to that signpost since literally...
We hadn't been for quite some time, no. But that's the only place where she meets people, just in case she has to turn into a demon and fight them.
Right, right. So, final thoughts?
Yeah, so like I said, that's my only major criticism of the game. This game is a dungeon crawler, right?
Yeah.
So,
and it's a dungeon crawler in a vein of a certain type of dungeon crawler.
Exactly.
And within that specific type, it does what it does very well.
Oh, yes. I've been impressed with especially for the system it's on, I've been impressed with the level of detail in terms of the things you can do. The dungeons and like having the map, being able to just look at the map, right? Admittedly, you have to cast a spell to do it. There's a lot of games that didn't even have that. Right? So that was, I think, a pretty cool addition. And that came as we were playing the game, I believe. They added that as a feature.
Yeah, because I think reveal location originally just would give you the coordinates.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you really did have to map it all out by hand by, like, counting steps oftentimes, using reveal location to verify your position, and just looking, look around, see where the doors are and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a handy feature. It's very reminiscent of the area option in the Gold Box games. I don't know if that's specifically what inspired him, but that's very much what it felt like to me. I don't know too many of the other games like the Might and Magic, like the very early Might and Magics and stuff like that are in a similar vein to this, in the early Wizardry games with party systems. I don't know how they handled that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that made things a lot easier to map out on our own.
Not that I didn't mess up with my pen quite frequently.
Yeah.
Literally every single dungeon
pen
I was
that you used because you weren't going to make mistakes. Right.
Well, yeah, and to be honest with you, every single map, I said to myself, this is going to be the time I don't make one single mistake on this map. And every single map has some scratches off or some line that says, hey, this whole area shifts this way by 1 or something like that. Partially sometimes because of me putting numbers down that were... I'd write the numbers down really fast instead of doing it ahead of time.
Right.
And I'd be like, oh crap, I wrote like
1, 2, 3, 4, 6 kind of thing.
Yeah, and then I'm like, oh crap. That's gonna be an issue. But there's some that only have 1 or 2 Oh, here we go. The one where we warp to the boss right away.
Mm-hmm.
The first time we used the go down through the floor spell.
Right.
I made no mistakes on that floor, but we explored very little of that floor.
Yeah. I would say, like, in terms of the system mechanics of the game, my big complaints are no ability to see hit points. I mean, not hit points, experience points. And knowing, and I don't actually care about current number or kind of thing. Like, I
you just want to know what you need to get to the next level.
Yeah, and because, like, I have no idea what the difference is between lethal killing a certain enemy and just lethal getting a share of XP after the fight.
Yep.
Like, I have no idea if it's, you know, you get 1 for each one that you kill, and it's 10 for the overall fight kind of thing. I don't know if it's you get 100 for killing an individual thing, and you get 2 for winning the fight kind of thing. Like, not knowing what that split is, I find very frustrating. Not being able to gauge when you're going to level up, what you need to do to level up kind of thing. Like,
yeah, it would have been good for, especially, like, the best example, I think, is the fact that we fought some real crappy monsters in what would have been the fight before the last boss fight in this video. And, you know, we leveled people up real quick, right? So we had a bunch of people on the cusp, and if we had known they were on the cusp, then
we could have just been like, oh yeah, we'll just get into one fight outside of town, level them up, rest at the end, and then go fighter.
Yeah,
we'll get that little bit, that little edge.
Little advantage.
My second complaint is non-bell curves on damage. Which makes everything way too swingy. There's nothing as unsatisfying as Bobo casting like a lightning bolt, the most powerful single damage spell he can, which we've seen do like 60, 90, or over 100 points of damage, and it does 9.
Yep.
And it's like, that hurts.
I saw a video on the rolling of multiple dice. And it's just a bell curve, but like it's a huge difference in, I guess it makes
in processor time.
Yeah, it makes you hit the high numbers a little less often. But you're just more consistent, right?
Right, and that's
see them every once in a while, and I guess that's more like a crit then, right? Because
and what it is that because I'm pretty sure right now he's using a flat distribution, which means that there is the exact same chance of getting the lowest number as the highest number as the median or mean or whatever, like smack dab in the middle. And whereas with the bell curve, like something that does 3d 6 points of damage, you have like a 1% chance of seeing a 3, also a 1% chance of seeing an 18. So if you see an 18, you're like, yeah! Most of the time it's 9, 10, 11, 12.
Yeah.
Right in there. And it's gonna be that very, very consistently. So you get an expectation on the damage output, whereas we really didn't get an expectation. And I would like the manual to say, you know, what that is. I think the manual should say how much XP you get for the monsters and what the breakdown. Like, some of this stuff doesn't need to be in the game itself. I think you should be able to see your character XP or how much you need to the next level. How much you get for killing a monster, that can be in the manual. How much the entire party gets for killing that monster, that can be in the manual. A player who really wants to like min-max or really work out what they need, they can sit there with their calculator open and figure it out when they encounter a fight with like, you know, 10 Gorgons or whatever it was that we fought, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think I can agree with that to an extent. But I think that outside of the really hating it when Bobo hits with Meteor Swarm for like 2 damage.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the combat because it felt, at least later in the game, as we were doing bosses more often and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I think that to an extent, it felt like this for any monsters we weren't super overleveled for.
Right.
Is that there was almost a puzzle element of how you're going to deal with this particular makeup of monsters with your party, right?
Yeah.
And I could see some people having the old, you know what, I have like an inn full of extra people that I swap out for very specific monster types, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoyed the fact that despite, I think we were a little underleveled on some of our combats.
Yeah.
And I think having the right strategy gave us an edge. Mm-hmm. And also would allow us to sometimes get the win the first try, right? Because I know we had at least one where we went in for a fight and we were like, let's just see what this fight is all about. And we just already had the right strategy for it. So we just mopped the floor with them, right?
Yeah, and I think that the strategy is pretty good in terms of, like the strategy element of this game is pretty good, where you do have a lot of different spells. I'd like more, and that's another thing is I'd like more spells. I'd like more spells that can affect specific types of creatures, so it's not just Earl King is the only one that can take out immortals, and that is the only way that you can do it. It would be nice to have like a 6th level spell that can do that. Yeah. There seem to be no.
Although I think that might have been a balance issue, because if you can cast it every single round, you have a very good chance of just getting out of a lot of the combats that are supposed to be like the boss combats.
Then I guess I would say throw in a couple items with like a 10 or 25% chance of destruction that are reasonably expensive, but you can go buy them at the stores or something. You know, the details can be figured out, and again, like a lot of this can be done with Realms Quest 6 too. But the fact that getting through the game, obviously we did end up getting through without certain characters.
Yes.
Like without a thief,
and to be honest,
or a ninja.
We loaded save states quite a bit, but you could do in-game saves if you wanted to do that. And
I don't know
once
that
we were a higher level,
you can't do an in-game save on the treasure, though, can you?
I can't remember right now.
I don't think so.
But you're only ever one combat away. But I felt like once we were past the first few levels, if it blew up on us and we got a good item, we were just like, let's keep this good item. It's a good item. Right?
Yeah,
so, like,
or a good amount of gold or something like that.
I think that some of the things are really just it's a slight inconvenience, and it's more troublesome in the early game than in the later game.
Yeah, I mean by the end of the game, it was like, oh, whatever, it blew up. We'll just do restoration. Oh, it poisoned or paralyzed. We'll just cast the spell that does it. And you
half
have
the people are asleep. Oh well, wake them up.
Yeah,
yeah.
And by the late game. Yeah, it that kind of thing doesn't matter anymore, but unless you're playing the game in such a way that, oh, we lost Zerfall, we're just going to go make a new character rather than, load back up,
Yep.
I'm definitely the type of person that I want to create my party at the beginning, and unless I kind of feel that a certain character is not pulling their weight at all, or just really, really not useful, or I feel like I just got really piss poor stats on them, kind of thing. I guess it's kind of all the same, not pulling their weight. I would want to go from the beginning to the end with all of the characters. Yeah. It would feel bad to me to be halfway through the game and one of the characters that I started with dies and I have no way of getting them back or something like that, or even if I just feel that they're worthless or weak and I need, and I go make a new one and then they're just really, really weak kind of thing.
Yeah. I do think that it... as a feature for people that choose to not load to keep people around, especially for things like voiding and stuff. If somebody's playing, like, it enables the ability to play, like, a more hardcore version of the game if you so desire, right? You're, but if you don't want to, you can, I mean, you just load the game up. I do, the things like Void are like, I mean, they're kind of, it's the throwback, right? Like, games used to be that mean, and this game was inspired by those mean games.
I mean, instant death, yeah, I don't recall too many games that would, like, actually delete a character. Other than a specific thing. Well, not this type. But I also don't have the most experience with this type. Well, I guess you could get disintegrated in the gold box games. I guess that was kind of similar.
Was there any way to come back from that?
No.
Ah, there you go.
No.
I think it was a very small window in the gaming period because there are people that
there's
enjoy
there's no. So the thing is like there's no way to come back from that in the gold box games. There is a way to come back in the tabletop D&D. It's very difficult, but yeah, I mean that usually is. But at the same time, death was oftentimes well, the character died, making a new one kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which obviously is not the case in this game.
Unless it's really early in the game and you don't have the money for it.
Yeah. Yeah. But I guess like the one difference is that in the gold box games you weren't encountering 15 enemies who could try and disintegrate you every round.
Yes,
and you've got pretty good saving throws, and you've got the clones to soak up one of them in this. But generally, if in the gold box games, if you were encountering enemies that could disintegrate, with the exception of beholders, they just couldn't do it super often.
Yeah,
you know, you were really only facing a very few attempts, and there were very few numbers of that enemy on the screen, that kind of thing.
Well, and
it wasn't so bad when we were encountering just a one boss that could void, and that would be their attack for the round. Because as long as you got clones up, you're protected. Right. Unless something else kills a clone.
I feel like it was a small window that existed as a thing in games. And I think mainly because there's a very small fraction of people that are like, oh man, that's a good feature.
Yeah.
There's a few of them, and there's enough of them that were in game design at the time that people were like, you know what, that's a good feature, let's put it in our game. And then they tried it, and then I think they just get the vast majority of people will give them flack for it, right?
So part of it is just because there is that kind of thing in the tabletop games. Save or die, instant death, you fell into the acid pit and your character is just completely eaten by acid and there's literally nothing left of their body, kind of thing. But most of those, the differences is that with the tabletop game, a decent dungeon master is going to give you clues. You should have plenty of ability to think your way around or out of these problems before they get to that point. In a way that a dungeon master can interpret what you want to do, where it's not just the computer having been programmed with specific options up front. When you get to the computer side of thing, you've got save games. Character got disintegrated, and this is what I do in the gold box games when they get level drained and stuff like that. Character gets any of these things, that battle is done. I'm not playing that any. I'm not even completing that fight. I'm loading up and trying it again fresh and hoping that I make my saving throw, which you can't do in a tabletop.
Yeah.
And that, to a certain extent, that there is this tug between when you can just load your game, the risk goes down from those instant death things. So they gotta ratchet up the risk of that by having even more of it.
Yeah.
Which is not the best way of handling it. To a certain, to a certain extent, I think that it's frustrating enough that you just need to load your game if you really don't want to lose them or have them die or something like that.
Yeah.
You don't need to increase the chances that all happens, thus making it so that you may have to reload for that and fight that fight many times.
Yeah. I feel like a bit of it in this game towards the end might have been like, we just want some of these battles to be really over the top for what's going on, right? A bit of an extreme case scenario. One of the other things I liked about the game, though, too, is all the different classes do play quite a bit differently.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I'm disappointed about is that I was really hoping that by Zerfall being at the speedy leveling, I wasn't actually hoping for him to become super powerful or something by being a really high level. I was kind of hoping he would die of old age, because it's something that exists in the game, and it's not likely to happen.
Yeah.
But it was something that I would have appreciated coming across.
Right, and go ahead and can you view Zerfall right now?
Absolutely.
I can't remember if we need to check the manual for max age. Yeah, okay, so 30 out of 70.
Right, even if we hadn't been invisibilitying the whole time. Right. Well, that's not necessarily true, because we probably missed, I don't know, 20 battles per dungeon, right?
Hard to say, but yeah, a big thing is just that, looking at that, we would have needed to level him up way more.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time,
and
we'd be fighting so many more fights. We'd have to use the crappy inn and just be like skinflints, because at a point where we are right now, there's not a whole lot to really buy. Unless it's just that one really good thing that pops up in the store.
Yeah.
It's... Yeah, maybe there's some monsters that can do aging. I don't recall that. I think that would be a good additional mechanic. If you're going to have the age thing, have some monsters that can age you by 10 years.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that could be interesting too. And there's ways to try to keep people alive once they do age up, because I think it's once you're over a certain age, and Zerfall wouldn't have made it, I think, because his IQ is so low. If he lost his IQ stat, he would have died instantly the first time he was over 70. But you lose stats as you go up, and as soon as one of your stats hits 0, you die from lack of that stat. So it turns out Zerfall was barely holding on to life the whole time. He was just he was never going to be an outside of the statistics for a kobold.
Yeah.
But I guess we should probably wrap this up, because we're already past half an hour. I would say that I enjoyed my time with this game.
Mm-hmm. As did I.
And I think if you're into the sort of dungeon crawling games, this is a great game to play for that. Because it's something new.
Especially if you want something fresh.
Yeah, right? It's
there is enough new stuff in it compared to, it's not just a clone of those old games. It is a game in the genre, but going its own way, doing its own thing, that sort of thing. So it really, really is a new game in the genre, as opposed to just Might and Magic with the serial numbers filed off or something like that.
Yeah. And I think, too, the other people that would get a lot out of this game, even if they don't necessarily play it all the way through, are people that are just into retro computing and retro games. Because if you compare this to the other games that I've played on the VIC-20, it's a really well put together, and this is one guy.
Yeah.
Right? And compared to people that were, and a lot of the game programs made back in the day were one guy working out of their spare time as well. But just the level of detail and the quality of it is head and shoulders above games that were commercial releases back then, right?
Yeah.
Especially on the VIC-20, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I saw this game on the C64 with its current level of graphics and everything, I still wouldn't be like, oh, this is like a crappy game on the C64. Look at how bad the graphics are. Look at how little you're doing. Like it's like, and the VIC-20 is like the lower cousin of the C64. So I'm pretty impressed with that part as well. So I'd say overall, on a scale from 1 to 10, I'd give this game probably, personally, like an 8.
Yeah, taking into consideration, like, not to say that I'm grading it on a curve, but grading it on the basis of where it fits in. Obviously, like, you can't compare this to a brand new modern RPG.
No, this isn't. Yeah, you can't be like, oh, well, compared to Elden Ring.
Right. Yeah, you gotta compare it to the other things that were out on the VIC-20 and on similar machines at the time that the VIC-20 was in its heyday, kind of thing. Yeah. And in that regard, yeah, I'd put it up somewhere around there too.
Yeah. Well, I think if this game was out back then, not a lot of people would play it because of how much RAM you need. But outside of that, I think all the games magazines would have been like, "This is our game of the year."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
one other thing that I would want is, like, I do think that more XP should be going to the party as opposed to the one doing the killing, because like Zerfall, we specifically chose Zerfall to try and be the hyper leveler. We weren't expecting him in any way to be powerful or anything like that, but we were really hoping that he would just like out-level everyone else by leaps and bounds, and that wasn't the case because so much of the XP is from kills, and Boneri had a similar problem in that Boneri lagged way behind because you don't get any experience points for singing.
No, and especially when we started fighting lots of bosses, because we'd be like, you know what? The singing is going to help us more than him hitting right now.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So either get XP for, like, those special abilities, more split to just all the, you know, after fight XP kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, I think we should call it there.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed this series, I mean, give this game a try. And
it's not called Realms of Quest 5 just for a lark. It is a Realms of Quest 1 through 4.
There's 1 through 4 as well, and a 6 may happen. It's been teased several times on Twitter, but never said that it's going to be a serious development. It'll probably happen one day, but it might be a decade from now. You never know. But I'm Zerfall.
I'm Auld.
Thanks for joining us on this journey, and we'll see